suits and African prints and what have we. I wish to welcome you all to the official partnership of the commercial partnership between the Hofstede Institute and the Growth Hub. My name is Vivian. Can you hear me? Yes. My name is Vivian Afum. I'm a training partner to the Growth Hub Ghana, and I'll be your MC for the occasion. Welcome again. You will all agree with me. The Bible says that for everything to end and start well, you need the presence of God in our midst. So to help me do this, with a round of applause, let's welcome Reverend Dominic Kwofie, Senior Pastor Harvest Chapel International Pokuasi branch. Thank you.
Please, can we humbly be up on our feet? Thank you very much. Let's close your eyes with me. I just want you to thank God this morning for your life, for your family, for your loved ones. To be alive today and to be part of this. Just thank God. Say, God, I'm grateful. Thank you, Father. Thank you. Our Heavenly Father, we thank and bless your name, that it has pleased you to give back our life to us and for us to see today. It is not by our might, nor by our power, but it's only by your grace and your mercies. This morning, as we have gathered here to launch this program, our prayer is that you will take absolute control. Let your spirit have a free way amongst us. We pray concerning the resource persons, that you grant them that wisdom, O God, to speak that which you will have them to speak. And for us, O God, who are going to be receiving, give us the minds and the hearts to receive and enlarge us in all fronts, even in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. For those who are still coming, we pray that you will bring them safely. Those that will be in person, those that will be online, we pray the Lord, you will reach out to all of them. As we launch this partnership, we make a declaration that it will be established, it will grow, and it will impact many, many more people, even in the name of Jesus. Let it be that, oh God, you will reign over it, and it will grow to the glory and to the praise of your name. We declare that this launch is successful because you are beginning with us and you also end with us. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Dominic Kwofie. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay, so now we'll kick the program going. To help us do this, we need to acknowledge the guests, special guests among us, the media houses, and we need to also state the purpose properly, officially. We need to state why we are here. So with a round of applause, let's welcome Mrs. Lovelace, Matekor Adjei-Aku, lead consultant of the Growth Hub, to do this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vivian. I'm very honored and very, very proud that all of you have made an opportunity to join me today and the Growth Hub and Hofstede Insights to launch this program. I'm very, very grateful because these are new beginnings. I set out to start this very adventure of running my consultancy, believing very well that it was just about sales and people, until I was approached by Hofstede Insights, believing that culture makes a difference in the lives of people. It is a passion. So you find out that I'll speak with a lot of passion in my voice. I've had the opportunity to lead a lot of people in corporate Ghana. Some good materials have been lost simply because a few people did not understand where these people were coming from. It takes a good leader. It takes an organization that understands the very culture of each individual, where they are coming from, their backgrounds, and how they can contribute differently. So I took it upon myself to hack this opportunity to bring Hofstede Insight into Ghana. And I'm very grateful that you found time out of your very busy schedule to come. Above all, I want to say a big thank you to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, who is ably represented by the Deputy Mr. Amprechu Sapon. So I'm very, very grateful to have you here. It means a lot to me because it means that we are looking at this whole program at the national level and international level, which is what it is and what is supposed to be. We've had a few tidbits, we'll talk later, but he shared insights as to why he also decided to honor this program exceptionally. It is new beginnings, but it's a new awakening that organizational culture is part of the decision-making issues that corporate Ghana must come to look at. Yes, we built our strategies, we did. We set our objectives, yes, only for us to find out that COVID showed up. Now, people who are used to working in teams, like a typical Ghanaian, we believe in group work. We are now having to work as silos in our own homes by ourselves, sometimes delivering our results with goats in the background, with somebody shouting in the background. Yet, we have to survive. Now, how can we, as an organization, join corporate Ghana to scan and have a scientifically measured way to say that this is what the culture looks like, this is what it's throwing out there, and this is how we think we can help you to transform or enhance whatever you have. So this is my passion for bringing Hofstede Insights to Ghana, and I'm very grateful for my Vice President, Regional Vice President, Okere, who started the conversation with me. This again was done through a network of somebody I had known, Jemima, who shared the fact that she believed that I had a passion for people and I'll be the best partner for them, and linked this up. And today I'm very happy to say that we find this having been signed. Thank you very much and welcome once again. There are so many dignitaries, my pastors, my mentors, my coaches, my mother, Yvonne Wallace-Bruce, she's here. She is a consultant as well. And a few people, I cannot mention everybody's name, but thank you so much for joining me today to help make sure that the launch is successful. Thank you, and I'm very grateful.
So at this juncture, we'll have a 2-minute video from the CEO of Hofstede Insights, Egbert Schram.
My name is Egbert Schram, Group CEO at Hofstede Insights, and I would like to welcome you to the launch of our new commercial partnership, this time in Ghana. I would like to very much convey my heartfelt thanks to Lovelace, Adjei-Aku, and our VP Africa, Okere, for making this partnership a reality. As cross-African business is on the increase, knowledge of local markets, such as the Growth Hub Ghana has for entering the Ghanaian market, is very important for making business success a reality. Adding to that, the insights on the culture factor that are brought to our partners globally throughout Hofstede Insights adds an additional layer of making sure that you have the right path to market entry and the right path into understanding the mindsets that help make business a reality, and that mindset will differ from one country to the next. Together with the Growth Hub Ghana, Hofstede Insights is aiming to make sure that more businesses will enter Ghana, and also Ghanaian businesses have more opportunity to extend their market reach beyond Ghana. I wish you a fantastic launch event and hope to see you in the future in person when time allows.
It's strategy for breakfast. For breakfast? I asked myself, why breakfast? Why not lunch? Breakfast. So it told me that, well, I had to think about it. It told me that, well, then it means that if an organization sets up a strategy, right from get-go, if they are not aligned, the culture is not aligned properly with the strategy, it's already dead on arrival. So probably that is what he said, the breakfast. It's the first meal of the day, isn't it? So that is really thought-provoking. So we have our regional Vice President for Hofstede Insights Nigeria, sharing with us the benefits that corporate Ghana will have with this partnership with the Growth Hub. So with a round of applause, let's welcome Dr. Okere to deliver his speech.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to start by thanking our dear Deputy Minister. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here today. So I want to take a few moments to appreciate everyone else as well that has made time to be with us here today. Thank you so much for making time. We appreciate everyone, and we thank you so much for joining us. You know, this thing about culture, just like Ekwa said, is something that everybody sometimes would say that it is important, but they don't really give attention to it. There's been some research recently that showed that over 92% of executives say that culture is important in their work. A lot of them said that if they improve their corporate culture, that it will improve the value of their organizations and what they do. But only 15% of executives can say that the kind of culture that they have is the kind of culture that will take them forward. So it's a problem that everybody shares, but it's a problem that very few people are actually doing something about. Culture is so important as well when you are starting a business. Your team dynamics as a business will determine your success. Only 60% of new businesses fail because they don't have the right culture. And then this issue of culture becomes even more imperative when you move from one society to another. So, you know, I am Nigerian, and we have a few Nigerian organizations here in Ghana. Those of us who are Ghanaians, what do you say about the Nigerians that you have worked with? They are what? Too aggressive. I'm not going to ask the Nigerians what the Nigerians say about the Ghanaians. We have a shared history. We are both British colonies, both West African countries. Our ties with Ghana are closer than any other country on earth. Yet the cultural differences are still there. How much more when a Ghanaian is working with a South African, or working with a Dutch person, or working with a Finnish person, as we're doing right now, because our company's headquarters is in Finland. The cultural differences can actually be a barrier to success. And that is the work that we do. 65% of the challenges that executives face when they are working across boundaries is as a result of culture. And oftentimes organizations try to change their culture. They try to deal with cultural issues, but they fail because executives don't usually take ownership of it. When you look at an organization, another dilemma you see, oftentimes in an organization, the people on the shop floor, the people who work closely with the customers, they know 100% of the problems, right? They know how as they say, where the shoe pinches. Because they deal directly with the customers, they deal directly with all the other stakeholders. But then when you go one level above them, their supervisors only know about 74% of the issues that they are facing. The supervisors, they don't know everything that the people in the front line are facing. By the time you get to middle management, the middle management are only aware of about 9% of the problems, almost out of touch with the reality on the ground. And then the senior management, is only about 4% that they're aware of. Meaning that if you don't have the right culture in your organization, it's going to take you as management away from the reality of what is going on the ground. And you need to deal with it so that you can ensure to satisfy your customers adequately. Okey summed it up very well when she said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. This is a saying by Peter Drucker. For those of us who are management students, we will know Peter Drucker as one of the management gurus. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Strategy is culture's first meal of the day. When your culture wakes up, the first thing it will deal with is your plans. Because you need to have a culture that can support the strategy that you have. So how do we help as an organization? We help in three main ways. The first way is that we help organizations to design a culture that can help them to succeed. And we use research that stretches back all the way to 1967 by Professor Hofstede. Hofstede, by the way, was ranked by The Economist magazine as one of the top 50 management scientists that ever lived. Unfortunately, he passed away last year at age 91. So he did very well, as we will say, in Africa. And apart from helping organizations to focus on building a culture that can help them succeed, we also help organizations from different countries and people from different countries to understand themselves very well. Why is it that the Ghanaians are saying that the Nigerians are aggressive? And why are the Nigerians saying that the Ghanaians are a little bit laid back? Basically, it is a way of seeing things. It's perspective. We get people from different countries to see each other, understand each other, and begin to work better. So even though I'm Nigerian, I've been visiting Ghana intermittently since 2007 to work here as a consultant. So when you hear me say things like Midase or Atesen, I know the accent is not correct, but please pardon me. You'll be able to understand that I have been able to appreciate the culture a bit better, a lot better actually. Now, how would that happen? Over years, by working with Ghanaians, I have learned how to adapt to work with Ghanaians. But what we do is that we can fast track that process for you so that within 2-3 months, you can be able to easily adapt with the people that you're working with. And I do even have some of our clients here that can testify about this in this very room. You need culture transformation as an organization if you want to improve your retention, if you want to merge with another organization, if you want to improve your stakeholder satisfaction, if you want to improve innovation, if you want to improve your overall performance. And there are at least 46 other areas in your organizational dynamics that culture plays a part. As a consultant, I work primarily with the banking industry. And then we lend to a customer. And when you lend to a customer, you are looking at several things, including their financial ability, right? They say capacity and they say character and other C's of credit. But the real deal when you are lending to an organization or when you are dealing with any organization is the culture within them. An organization can have very intelligent people working there. But if they don't have a good way of working together, if you invest in that organization or if you lend money to them, that organization most likely will not be able to succeed and pay you back. We use a structured approach, a 6-step approach to help organizations with transforming their cultures. We help them to, first of all, define their goals. We measure the culture. After we have measured the culture, we will help them to determine the optimal culture that can help them to succeed based on their strategy. It's not a one-size-fits-all. We have to look at your strategy and then find the kind of culture that can support your strategy. And after that, we will look at the gaps between your current culture and the culture that can support you, help you to strategize, and then make the changes that you need. And we have several other interventions that we help our clients with in the area of intercultural management. For those of our clients here, our prospective clients here in Ghana, you will not be alone. You will not be our first client. Since 1985, we have helped over 5,000 global organizations on every continent in the world and in every sphere, in every sector. You can see some of these clients over here, and some of us, perhaps you might even recognize the logos of your bank or your organization right on the screen. And it is such a pleasure for us and such an honor for us to bring this to Ghana in a unique partnership with my dear sister, I call her my sister, Lovelace Adjei-Aku, and also Ekua and all the rest, other members of the team. Right here, our partnership in Ghana, they will have full representation for us. They will be in touch on the ground to help our clients to access our services. We'll be delivering some of these services with them, but they will be handling all of this by themselves. We'll ensure that we give them all the necessary support that they need. We're going to help with culture consulting for organizations that want to improve their culture, for organizations that want to improve the way people from different cultures work together. We're going to be providing certification programs together as well, and some implant trainings for companies inside the companies, and open nomination trainings as well. Not only for organizations, but for individuals as well. So I want to just thank you again for coming today. It's such an honor to be here, and we look forward to this, making this partnership a huge success. Midase.
Thank you, okay. Thank you very much. So, Corporate Ghana, are you ready? We are coming to your offices. We are coming. Are you ready for us? Are you ready? Let me hear somebody say, yeah, yes. Is it a good thing? Yes, very good. So we are coming for you. At this juncture, we have a very special guest in our midst. And I need the right person to do the introduction of the special guest. So may I please have Mrs. Lovelace Adjei-Aku come to introduce the special guest of honor. A round of applause for her, please.
Thank you. Honorable Kweku Amprechum Sapon. He is our special guest to give us the keynote address. He is from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. He is not just an ambassador or somebody in the Foreign Affairs Ministry, but key to him is the issue of business and productivity. Before being the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Mr. Amprechum Sapon was the High Commissioner, Deputy High Commissioner for India. Whilst he was there, he did just not do the protocols and the nice things, but he saw an opportunity to link the two cultures together by way of business. His achievement in this regard is very, very huge. If we needed somebody to speak to us and give us an insight as to how culture and working with different people works, he is the right person, because under his watch, a cool $523 million was moved from India into Ghana for various sections. Now, you can only do this if you understand the people that you are bringing into the country, give them a good orientation, tell them what Ghana is, how we work, and how we achieve, for them to believe you to bring you in. I think he's the best person. He's married with 3 children, and he is the MP for Mampong, Ashanti. Again, also, he's worked in different environments, in London, so many places. I should get his passport for you to see. But he's well-traveled, well-worked with a lot of people. And he's the best person in this situation to give us the highlights and tell corporate Ghana that what we are about to do is significant and is part of strategy for moving business forward. Thank you very much, Mr. Amprechum. Please, can you have this? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Lovelace, for the nice words that you said about me. I'm married, and I've been married for 35 years. Still and counting. Yes. I have to count myself lucky to be here today, to be part of this, because I'm somebody who like to talk about business, dream about business, eat business, do everything business. What I believe in is what puts food on the table. Nothing else I'm not interested, apart from the matters of God. If you take God, it has to be something that puts food on the table. Yes. So if you invite me 100 times and it's to do business, I will find the time. Yes. Thank you. The lead consultant, Growth Hub Ghana, Mrs. Lovelace Adjei-Aku, the global CEO, Hofstede Insights, Egbert, Schram, the regional vice president, Africa Hofstede Insights, Dr. Okere, the lead consultant, Peak Resources Consulting, Ama Quarantine Answer, the director, HCM Standard Bank, Ghana, Samuel Kojutei, distinguished guests, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It is a pleasure to be part of this August event to launch the international partnership between Hofstede Insights and the Growth Hub Ghana. Permit me to express my appreciation to the organizers for the opportunity to deliver this keynote address. Over the years, Ghana has attracted the attention of international business due to a growing recognition of Ghana's importance as the gateway for trade in Africa. The country's democratic credentials, progressive incentive regime, as well as its reputation for being peaceful and hospitable, are some of our greatest assets in attracting foreign direct investment. Many businesses invest in sectors of the Ghanaian economy because of the conducive social, political, and economic environment in which they can operate and be successful. Further to this, with the establishment of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat in Accra, more businesses like Hofstede Insights are expected to partner with local Ghanaian firms to establish their presence in the country and by extension on the continent. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration is delighted to support collaboration between local and foreign businesses, whilst recognizing that cultural differences often pose barriers to international business collaboration. Indeed, it is often challenging to adapt to the culture of foreign business partners. That is why there's not that many partnerships between Ghanaians and Nigerians. The culture of the Nigerian is aggressiveness. That of the Ghanaian is the laybackness. And it's not only playback only in here. Where I used to be in London is all the same thing. Right? Where we live and even where we work, there were always these issues. But I guess, Doc, it's not happening. It will happen between you and your sister. Good. Indeed, it is often challenging to adapt to the culture of foreign business partners. As a ministry, our diplomats are adept at educating local businesses on the business and trade practices existing in foreign countries to which they may wish to export products. In the same vein, we encourage our foreign mission diplomats in Ghana to educate prospective business partners and investors from their home countries on the trade practices in Ghana in order to achieve successful partnerships. The late Professor Hofstede is one of the pioneers of the cross-cultural field whose work has become a standard component of most international training programs in intercultural adaptation. I am pleased, therefore, that the Growth Hub Ghana is partnering with Hofstede Insights to enable Ghana public and private sector organizations benefit from Professor Hofstede's work. Ladies and gentlemen, cross-culture experts distinguish between national and organizational culture. According to these experts, national culture impacts how we work with people from other climates, whilst organizational culture focuses more on how we collectively behave in the workplace. Organizational leaders cannot ignore culture's important role, as employing the right culture would ensure success for businesses. Employees will naturally align with the practices in an organization. In the public service, we recognize the need to continue to infuse a new culture of doing things. We are also looking at ways to make us more effective and efficient in supporting Ghana's strategic goals. Indeed, building the right organizational culture has become imperative in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many organizations have collapsed because their culture did not encourage flexibility and agility. The new normal calls for new cultures at play in the workplace. Recent data from the United States show that people prefer working remotely and often choose to resign if compelled to go back to physical work. My wife has been working from home for the past 1.5 years. And recently, they were being asked to go back to the office. And she's threatening to resign. She's become so used to working from home that she's got all the setup in place to make her work from home. And she's going to like it. Now she's being asked to go back. Now she's being asked to go back, and she's up in arms. Other recent developments, like the gig economy and the emergence of digital nomads, are forcing organizations to rethink their strategies for the future. Since culture could quickly checkmate strategy, I believe that candid and enlightened conversations about transforming organizational cultures in this new era are essential. I would like to close my keynote address by quoting the late Israeli statesman David Ben-Gurion, who once said, "All the experts are experts on what? There is no expert on what will be." In agreeing with this famous quote, we must recognize that we need new strategies to face the future. We do not know what the new normal portends, but we know that things must change. It is therefore my ultimate pleasure to challenge today's speakers and audience, physical and virtual, to discuss extensively and ask questions. I hope that your deliberations will bring out deep insights on how we can adequately prepare for this change. I wish the Growth Hub Ghana success in their new partnership, and to Hofstede Insights and all our friends from abroad, we say, Akwaba. Thank you very much.
Let's give it up for him, a round of applause. Thank you. See how time flies when you are having fun, they say. So it looks, I think that we are just about finishing part one of this event. We are going to have an executive roundtable discussion with very good industry players in attendance to discuss the topic on aligning culture and the new norm. We want you to stay, and we want as many people to still stay. We have people streaming in to also listen to the conversation and to be part of it. So at this juncture, I think we'll have a group photograph with the minister, foreign minister, and then we would have our part two. We also have our coffee break. Within that period, we'll have our coffee break. Within that period, we'll have our coffee break, and then we'll go straight to the part two of the event. Thank you. So can we do this orderly, please? We'll have the first two rows come first.
name? What's his name? Jesus. Oh, Happy New Year! People come together. Come on, you sing. Strangers children of generations of every nation. Oh, come on. The kingdom come. So don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high. Don't fear no evil. But fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. Hey, take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where I am. Come strong with what's his name? Jesus, light of heaven, friend forever, his kingdom come. So don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where I am, come strong. Come on, somebody give it praise. Oh, if ever there was a time to get rowdy. Come on. Sing wild.
Oh, you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. Oh, creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All these children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus.
Come on with all we've got. Swing it. What's his name? Jesus. Oh, Happy New Year! People come together, noisy, strangers children of generations of every nation. Oh, come on. Of kingdom come. So don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. But fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. Hey, so take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where I am, you're strong. Go one more time, with all we got, what's his name? Jesus, our redemption. Come on. Our salvation is in his blood. What's his name? Jesus, light of heaven, friend forever, his kingdom come. So don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where I am, comes from. Come on, somebody give him praise. Oh, if ever there was a time to get rowdy. Come on.
Sing wild, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. Oh, creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All these children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus.
Come on, with all we've got, swing. it. What's his name? Jesus. Oh, Happy New Year! People come together, noisy, heaven, Jesus. Oh, Happy New Year!
well. So we will take questions online and we will take questions offline. We would like to plead with you while we are starting, and I will still say this again once we are settled with the sound. We'd like to plead with you to please write your questions down. We will not take questions during the session. So I hear that everybody is hearing me. Egbert, can you hear me? Could you please raise your hand to indicate if you can hear me? Good. Michael, you will need to ping Egbert and ping something on the screen. And Sami, if you can hear me, please indicate by waving your hand. Sam, thank you. So we see that Sam and Egbert are here. So for those of us who are online, I want to say this again. We would ask the panelists questions, and after about 30 minutes or so, we will take questions from the audience. If you have any questions, please help us by writing them down, and we will give you an opportunity, if you are, of course, physically, to ask the question directly. But if you are online, you would have to type in the question. Please help us as well to type in your name, if possible, when you are sending the question, so that we can acknowledge you and also appreciate you. Thank you. So, welcome to the roundtable. The roundtable of this event, the roundtable section, where we're talking about aligning culture and strategy in the new normal. A lot of things have changed in the world in the last 1.5 years, and how our business is supposed to respond to these changes. A lot of talk about organizational culture as well in the last 1.5 years. So I want to start by talking to my global CEO, Mr. Egbert Schram, to help us set the ball rolling by defining culture. How do we define culture, and why is culture essential for strategy?
Thank you, Okey, and maybe let me start with extending a very, very big thanks to the organizers of today's event. It's been a pleasure to observe it from about 4,000 kilometers distance, and I'm looking forward to going to Ghana in person, perhaps in 2022. So, coming to the question, how do we define culture? The way we define culture on a national level is basically as originally coined by the late Professor Hofstede, which is the programming of the human mind with which one group of people differentiates itself from another group of people. Now, that is on a national level. If we dive into an organization, we can make this a bit more concrete, and we really talk about organizational culture in the perspective of how people relate to each other, and that could be their colleagues, their superiors, their subordinates, how they relate to their work, meaning what they do and how they do it, and how they relate to the outside world. In other words, people can really like their colleagues, they can love the work they do, but if they work for the tax office, then everybody doesn't really want to work with them. Obviously, there are differences according to tax offices around the globe. But the point with culture is really that we also need to be mindful of how the outside environment, the context in which people operate, relates back to how people themselves reflect on the people they work with and the work they do. So that's basically what culture is about. In essence, it's about mindsets and mindset differences that vary according to groups.
Egbert, if you can hear us, we had a bit of a sound challenge. Apologies. So, but we heard you say that culture is really quite important. It's about how we relate to our work, how we relate to each other, and how we relate to the outside world compared to other organizations, and that it's really important for strategy. Yes, so we will continue, we will proceed. Second question for you again, Egbert. And if you could try to answer, we would appreciate. Are there scientific ways in measuring organizational culture? And what is the impact of organizational or of these scientific ways on strategy and decision making?
Yes, there are scientific ways of measuring culture, and the way culture is measured depends a little bit on what is the type of culture that we measure. In other words, measuring country culture is done in a different way than measuring organizational culture. What is very important when measuring organizational culture is that you have a benchmark, and that benchmark is not other organizations, but it's the strategy. So what is the strategy of the organization? Because that's what you're aiming at. Everything you measure stands in relationship to that strategy. That's one component. The second component is that you do not look at individual answers per se, but you look at the answer patterns throughout a group of people. And it is this pattern that defines the organizational culture, not the individual answers.
Thanks, Egbert. Again, apologies, we're still struggling with the sound, so we didn't quite hear Egbert very well. I would want to move over to Sam. So Sam, we want to hear from you. We see the workplace evolving globally, and many new practices are coming on board. For instance, remote working, the 4-day week, flexible hours, and also a shift in the shift system. Sorry, so 4-day week, flexible hours, remote working, shift system. How do you see these practices affecting the workplace culture, especially in Stanbic Bank? So you can talk generally and also tell us about your bank as well. Apologies, we can't hear you. So I might, if it is possible for you to please help us type, and then we would read your text. And I basically want to continue by responding to what Egbert said before. Egbert said there is an existing way of asking individual questions and averaging the answers in terms of measuring organizational cultures, and this basically is it doesn't help. But our approach in Hofstede Insights about understanding behavioral patterns. In other words, the answer patterns across an organization and connecting those patterns with specific strategic goals. So a behavioral pattern which functions in one organization might not function in another organization because of their specific context, such as their financial situation, the philosophy of the founder, and other issues. In other words, if you want to analyze the culture, the context is essential. It's not just the individual answers you get when you're trying to measure culture, but the context within that measurement as well is really important. So Egbert and Sam, apologies, we will have to take text for now until when the audio team will let us know how they are. I would like to come into the hall and talk to Lovelace and Amma, but I'll start with Amma first. Amma, what are the significant challenges you have faced in executing your strategy in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic?
We could no longer actually go to people physically to have our meetings. We had to resort to the use of technology, and this technology has been with us for years, but we had not made very much use of it. So this time, it actually made us look at resorting to extensive use of technology, using Microsoft Teams, using Zoom for our meetings, actually signing contracts without physically seeing the people and the paper. And so as a business, we had to actually sit back, have alternative plans, and actually look at how we can resource ourselves as a team to deliver and execute our strategy for the year.
Thank you, Ama. Lovelace, I'll come to you. In terms of what you have seen around with your clients and everybody else, what are the significant challenges organizations have been facing in executing strategy in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Thank you, Okey. So for the training industry, we were very used to the physical presence and physical classrooms. Now, a lot of the training and consultancy services now had to resort to getting even their own materials and in slides and training materials adapt to the online learning. Now we had to learn new skills, how to do Zoom meetings, how to break it into the various team groups, breakout sessions, how to respond to individuals, even as far back as going to icebreakers. Ordinarily, in a training room, you would want to do your icebreakers with your people there. We had to quickly start researching as to how we can turn some of these icebreakers virtually to get the teams cooperating and then supporting. So again, our strategy had to change from physically going to see the clients, moving them to a hotel or into a meeting room for a day or two. And sometimes, logistics and everything is all sorted out by others. You just come in and then do the training. This time around, you are alone in your own office or in your house, and you have to make sure that you are doing everything by yourself. So again, it changed the very way we train, the very way we meet customers, and keeping them alive and motivated and making sure that learning has gone through, especially for adult learning. It was quite challenging, but we've made some milestones there. So it did change, yes. COVID did change us.
Thank you very much, Lovelace. And from Egbert says, regarding the changes, the challenges rather, faced in executing strategy, thanks to our global presence, we have been able to cope rather well, and also due to our experience in working virtually. If anything, COVID has enabled us, Hofstede Insights, to speed up our local presence and as such, minimize our carbon footprint. So thank you so much, Egbert, for that contribution. So Sam is sending his own comments very soon on this. Sam will look forward to receiving your text so that we can read it out. Unfortunately, the audio hasn't been sorted out yet. So once the audio is sorted out, then Sam and Egbert you'll be able to hear them, but you can see them. So, Sam, please, could you say something? They said that you can speak.
No.
Sam, please unmute.
I'm on mute.
Is he muted? Sam, you can speak.
No, can you hear me?
He's speaking, but we can't hear.
So we have to do the audio out.
Still no luck. But I believe he. He has sent some information, so I could read what he has sent. He said an organization should be committed to supporting its employees to deliver on its strategic objectives through its employee value proposition, which provides a focal point around the experience we want people to get. Happy employees mean happy customers, allowing and supporting people, which attracts people and enhances the employee value proposition. Also, a sense of belonging and pride. An organization that cares about diversity and inclusion policies, structures, interdependencies between departments also has to be worked on. To everybody who's joining in, apologies for the technical challenges, but we will still trudge on with or without technology. I'm going to come back to the people in the room, to Amma and to Lovelace. Is there anything you have seen that has not worked in the new normal? What are some of the practices that companies need to stop? Amma, let me go with you again. What is not working?
I think this is a very delicate times that we are in, and delicate times needs that we resort to some measures, become innovative and come up with things that we can do and do right. One big thing that has come to stay with us, because I believe that this normal is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. So it's become the normal, and we need to actually tune ourselves well to adjust to it. So there's been a lot of use on technology, which is good. But I think we should not de-emphasize the bit about our humanness, because you'll be very much aware, I'm sure you're very much aware, that in these times, research has proven and practice confirms that there are high cases of mental health issues, just because people lack that kind of connectedness. So as much as we focus on the use of technology, which has come in very, very handy, I must say, which has been very good, I think one thing that I can actually say that we need not stop, but not to let our eyes off the ball, is our humanness. People need to be connected, people need to be happy, people need to be engaged so that they'll be able to deliver on the task or the jobs that they are supposed to actually do. So I will not actually quickly say that there's something that should be stopped, but there should be something that we should be very much aware of. I think we're doing great on technology, but our human connectedness is key.
Thank you very much. Before I go to Lovelace, I want to read what Egbert has sent in. He said, the time for meaningful reflection in an unplanned fashion, that has to stop. This is time for meaningful. So in a virtual environment, everything has become more dependent on actual planning. So planning back-to-back calls or planting back-to-back calls has drained energy, and as such, reduced the people's ability to reflect on the calls and the discussions and the meetings that they have had. So his advice is that after each call, you should plan to have 15 to 30 minutes after each call, after each Zoom meeting or Skype meeting or whatever it is that you use. Give like 15 to 20 to 30 minutes to allow the participants to gather their thoughts and to prepare for the next call. And then step away from the screen as well. Step away from the screen for a few moments, so that at least for the sake of your eyes and also for your health, it will be fine. And also, most of these calls you do when you're sitting down, so you need to actually stand up and go and get a glass of water, move around in the house, so that your body can still be active. So Egbert, is that correct? Would you want to nod? So he can hear me. I read his statement well. I'm going over to Lovelace. Lovelace, what has not worked? What do people and companies need to stop doing?
Okay, so in line with what Egbert just said, people just need to check on people. I think it has to stop. We go into the various meetings, everybody is on and we are good to go. Yet we forget that we haven't seen their physical or emotional state. People are at homes, sometimes they are sick. They haven't mentioned that they are sick, but sometimes a quick call on everybody to check, getting everybody to check in, and checking in not based on the numbers, but checking in based on themselves will have to be improved. Ordinarily, when we get to the office, we'll say good morning, meet people on the corridors, chat a little, check on them, oh, nice dress, nice hairstyle, and it brings people back together. With these digital ways of doing things, once we log in, it's like the screens have started. Everybody is just answering questions. Questions are coming through, and then we're done for the day. Nobody checked. And there's no rapport. We haven't built any rapport, and everything is so mechanical. People are genuinely going through difficulties in these times, and a quick check-in for everybody will be fine. So a 5 minutes check-in, let it be relaxed, ask questions, how they're feeling, what they had for dinner, and what they're likely to have for lunch, and all of that, to break the ice, to get them as humans back onto the block to deliver the numbers. So I think that we need to look at the human bit again in terms of checking how they are doing. Yes.
Thank you very much, Lovelace. Let's check on one another to make sure that your colleagues and your partners, as the case might be, are doing well. Okay, I'm going to come up again to you, and I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions because you're right here in the room and you can hear me directly. But what are the significant lessons that organizations, for you as a consultant, helping organizations to perform better, what are the significant lessons that organizations can take from the COVID-19 pandemic regarding culture and strategy? What should they take with them?
Yes, we should plan, we should have a strategy, but we need to have a contingency. And we need to have a big contingency in place. I know a number of multinationals who have a business continuity plan. So when these things hit, they actually know what to do. And I've also dealt with some who had no clue about what they were going to do next. Some would say that it's an investment that they would not like to make, but it's an investment that should be made. People have well-planned BCP sites, and therefore when these things hit, they could actually connect, and wherever they are, they could actually work. So in terms of strategy, yes, plan, but have a big contingency in place, because you do not hold the future. In terms of culture, I would say that a number of things have changed with this, as we've rightly talked about, even by way of recruitment. Now for our clients, we recruit online, virtually via Zoom or by Microsoft Teams. We get the other our clients to sit in together from wherever they are and connect and meet the clients. And we've done hirings through these processes. You may not actually get 100%, but I would say that 90% of the time or 95% of the time, you would get it right, because the person is not sitting in front of you for you to actually look at all the body language. For all you know, he's just wearing a shirt with a nice shirt with the boxer shorts beneath. But definitely you're able to do some good interviews via this. We had to actually sit back and think. So it's one lesson that it has taught us. We need to change the way we do things. In terms of dealing with our clients, one thing that we've come to see is that in terms of measuring performance, now you don't need to see the person sitting in front of you coming to the workplace 9 to 5 for you to measure the person. It's about deliverables. So in setting your goals, you need to be very clear in the goal setting process, and this is what we've helped some people do, so that they can actually put in place systems to actually monitor and track. As Lovelace said, getting engaged to the people, talking to them, checking on them. I'm not saying micromanagement, no, but a call to check on them to see how they're doing, whatever challenges that they are facing. So the leadership lens has to change, and it has changed actually for some people, and some are still lagging behind. And this is also a lesson from COVID, the way we measure performance and the way we assess people. And the thing I would also talk about is the way we even engage people. Previously, we would have an engagement session, maybe a fun engagement session by having a Christmas party, face-to-face in a crowded place, enjoy ourselves, have a good dance. But we could not do that this year. So we advised some of our clients, and we had clients actually having Christmas party via Zoom. So they actually delivered their little parcels by courier, and then they could have their parties via Zoom. People connected, and they were happy just because they could see their other colleagues online, having been home for ages. So COVID has taught us a lot of things. It's taught us to be innovative as businesses and as individuals. It's taught us to actually look out for people more. And it's taught us one big lesson, that people are important. People are important. So you can have your big strategy, but if you do not have the people to execute, the people to stay connected to you, you are making one very fine mistake. You need to get up and actually do some things right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go with one last question for all the panelists. And we're going to check to see, because I get some confirmation. I'm getting some confirmation that the sound might be better now. Egbert, could you try? Egbert, could you say something? Say something.
Okay, let's give it a try. Let's hope that the voice travels.
If you can hear me, please try. If you can hear me, please try. If you can hear me, please try.
I'll give it another try.
People online are hearing him, but we can't hear him here. May I continue? Good. So, but before we go to Egbert, to Sam, to Amma, and also to Lovelace, I would like to ask if you are in the audience online, please send in your questions in the Q&A box. There's a Q&A box over there. Please send in your questions as you can. We will read out those questions. Do oblige us by including your name so that we can recognize you as well. Of course, because of the sound, we will not be able to allow you to speak, except, of course, if you are in the hall. And for those of us in the hall, please have your questions ready as well. We will be giving the mics to you. We will ensure that the mics are wiped before you will answer. So please get ready, and we will call you up. So before we go to questions, I would like to go around the table to Egbert, to Sam, to Amma, and also to Lovelace. Egbert already has sent me his text, so I will read his text. Sam, if you could please answer the question that I sent. Please answer it so that I can read your text as well. And then we will go to Amma and also to Lovelace. So this is what Egbert has said to this question. The question is, in the past few years, culture fit has been the buzzword. But now we have come to realize that hiring more of the same does not necessarily benefit a company. So now we are hearing about culture add. So formerly we were hearing about culture fit, now we're hearing culture add, which aims to champion diversity and inclusion. How do you see the conversation around culture evolving over the next decade? So we've heard of culture fit, we're hearing of culture add. What is the future of culture in the organization? And this is Egbert's answer. Egbert says the question is really about fit or add to what? So what are you fitting to and what are you adding to? Say culture fit to the team. Is it to the strategy? Is it to the team? So whether we talk about fit, add, or change, the point is that every word we use conveys a meaning. And is this meaning really what we would like to be understood? So what are we really talking about? That's the question that he says we need to answer. Egbert continues by saying that his sincerest hope is that we can steer the culture discussion to become more clinical, precisely so that culture is such an emotional topic, and when emotions pop up, there is too big a risk that it becomes a right versus a wrong discussion. Egbert further says that organizational culture is a tool. There is no right, there is no wrong. It's just functional and less functional. It is up to the owners and leaders to make conscious choices on what is the culture they would like to have in place to execute the strategy in the most effective, efficient, and sustainable way possible. Naturally taking into account how employees and customers might react to the choices that they make. Thank you so much, Egbert. He said it's not about culture fit, add, or reduce. It's more about what are you adding to. It's more about your strategy. It's more about understanding that there's no good culture, there's no bad culture, there's no right, there's no wrong. Culture basically is something that you have to think about in line with your strategy. Let's see if Sam has sent in his contribution. Yes, Sam indeed has. Sam says, and I would read. He says, culture ad ensures the embracement and inclusion, embracement of diversity and inclusion, different perspectives in contributing to the business. So leveraging the balancing act of goodwill, that is work-life balance, and making sure that there's no abuse on any party. So this is what he says the conversation will be most likely in the future. The formalization of flexi work policies to manage remote work. People want to stay in an organization that cares, and maximizing the use of technology, and making sure that there is value for money in the investment. Thank you so much, Sam. We will go over to Amma. Amma, where is the culture conversation going to in the future?
Well, I think there's a place for culture fit, and also there's a place for culture add. And I liked what your CEO said. What are we adding to? What are we fitting to? So, we actually, this is a time where we have 4 or 5 generations together at work. And from what the research has told us, it hasn't happened like this before. So we have various people, we have the baby boomers, all the way to the millennials and those yet to come. So as a company and as good corporates, we need to actually create a culture that would be a balance across all levels. But one thing that I've come to realize, that there's what we call psychological safety. And it's one big piece that would aid in our culture building and culture development. And it's basically the belief that you will not be dehumanized, you will not be punished, you will not be humiliated, and you will not be victimized if you speak up. Cultures where people speak up, sometimes people speak up and they get into trouble. Those cultures going forward would have to change, because people need to be psychologically safe so that they can actually contribute. They need to be psychologically safe so that they feel that they belong. So they need that kind of inclusion culture to promote the diversity that we're talking about today going forward in terms of our culture, because the various generations will demand that. And they also need to be sure that they can contribute. They have safety in contribution. They can contribute effectively to the business, be productive, make profits without any harm. And also they should be able to feel comfortable that they are in an environment that supports their learning and their growth. So there's a learning safety in there as well. And if we do that, then we are promoting the right culture that we need going forward. And I'll touch on the fact that there are usually certain things that happen within our organization that do not actually help our culture. And going forward also needs to change. These are the microaggressions. These are subtle things that actually happen within the organization, built in cultures within organizations that do not promote good health. You come to a meeting, you greet 4 people, you skip the next person, you move on to the other person because you think that person is not up to that particular standard. You have a meeting, manager sits here, other people sit here. Then you create that kind of impression. Okay, then if you're at the other side, let me bombard you with all the questions. We need to actually look at cultures that actually blend good values, make people psychologically safe, people be able to actually eliminate microaggressions, if not eliminate, bring it down to about 90%, and keep the environment healthy. Going forward, there's a lot to be demanded, and this new normal has come to stay. So we better actually shape ourselves and build the right culture that will take us forward and make us productive organizations so that we'll be happy and the companies would equally grow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, particularly for psychological safety. And because this is one of the things that we also say in our organization, you can't change your culture if there is no psychological safety. Egbert, am I correct? Yes, so he's nodding. And then to my dear sister Lovelace, what is the conversation about culture going to be in the next 10 years? What do you think?
Again, I also appreciate that the fit will still be there. We will demand fitting. Again, also we will demand adding. But to Egbert's point, if you don't even know what the culture is, what are you fitting in? And what are you adding on? This is where I think that Offset Insights has become key in starting the discussion. Let's measure, let's know exactly what the culture is. Not because we have said this is what we want it to be, but what is currently pertaining, so that we understand where our gaps are. So in recruiting, we know who we are adding on to make sure these gaps are taken care of, especially in places now where we need a lot of innovation. You cannot have everybody thinking the same and saying yes, sir, yes, sir. You need these young millennials who come in to challenge the status quo. So if we understand what the current culture is and understand what we want to achieve, given that we are an innovative organization or creative organization, yes, we have the big wigs who understand the systems, they understand the risk process. Let's keep them in because they fit a certain level. Now, who do we add? Now, in adding, is because we have done the scan and we have said that this is where we have the gaps. And so in hiring, we are hiring people to come in to make sure we get to the optimal level. So I think this is where we need to start the discussion to say, do you know, as a decision maker, do you know what the current culture is? If you cannot answer that question, then it's not about fitting or adding. We need to understand what it is first. Then we can decide whether to add on or to fit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lovelace. So I see we are getting some questions online. If you would like us to read out your question, please type it in. We'll just have a few minutes for questions. What we will do is we'll take one online and we'll take one offline. So I want to start offline first, or should I say face-to-face rather than offline, because you are still online, as a matter of fact. So we're going to start face-to-face first. We'll take a few questions face-to-face before we go. I see a comment from Adjei-Aku, and I hope I got the pronunciation. Adjei-Aku. Okay. Now, sometimes in Ghana, the A is A and sometimes it's A. So I have to learn how when it is A and A. So Adjei-Aku, I see a question from Adjei-Aku. If you would like to make a comment as well, please send it to the Q&A. Yes, I see another question and comments are coming in. Thank you so much. But before we go to those comments, let me take any questions face to face. If you have a question here, please signify by showing your hands, and then I'll recognize you, and then we will now ask you to speak. If you have a question, please, could you help us by signifying by raising your hand, please? Anybody face to face with a question? Going once, going twice? If you have a question, please signify by raising your hand. Okay. So I think we want to give the people, is there a question? Where? Okay. Oh, great. We have a question on face-to-face. Please let us know your name before you ask the question. Thank you.
My name is Isaac Palomeras. I'm just wondering whether in this new arena of the new order, how is it contributing to profitability? And if there are some risks identified?
So how is it how culture is contributing to profitability, or how the new order is contributing? The new order. So how is the new order, the new normal, contributing to profitability? Good. So who wants to take the question? Egbert, do you want to step in? Try and speak, and then if it doesn't work, we will switch.
Okay, let's give it another try to transmit. And now I can hear myself multiple times. So I guess something is coming across. So if you think about profitability, we have less costs and time wasted on travel-related expenses. We can make rather large cost savings with regards to location, so office space. So it looks as if we can become more profitable. We noticed from research that sick leave is down. And whether that is due to better hygiene, because people can't infect each other when they're working at home, whether people choose to work online because of peer-to-peer pressure, again, it appears as if profitability could be increasing because people appear to be more productive. However, the question to look at is, what are the indirect costs? Are people really more sustainably productive? Or is it something profitability increases due to reduced costs, but in the long run we risk losing people because we've never really paid attention to this psychological. So two answers. It appears that in the short run it makes organizations more profitable. In the long run, it remains to be seen if it's actually sustainable profitability or not.
Thank you very much, Egbert, and apologies for those of us here in the hall on the sound. For those of us online, we heard his answer quite correctly. So apologies for those of us here in the hall. But he said, of course, it's impacting profitability in some instances, but a number of organizations have been able to take advantage of the new normal to increase their profits. So it's about recognizing those opportunities very quickly and adapting quite quickly as well. I want to go to online. If you have a question offline, please signify, and then they will take the mic to you. I have a comment from Adjei-Aku. Says, comment, lessons learned on making flexibility a key part of the business process, and this is beneficial to both employer and employees. So Adjei-Aku says we have to ensure that flexibility must be maintained. I have a question from Chris Mote. Christian Mote says, how do you handle culture disruptions, I think, in the culture disruptors in the banking environment? For example, your staff who may want to dress in tight-fitting clothes with bushy hairstyles that may not sit well with the cultural scope of the bank. Samtei, I'm going to direct this question to you because you are HR director in one of the leading banks in Ghana. Sam, please take your time and type your answer. I will read your answer. But let me ask the question again so that you can hear. And I think I'm going to involve Lovelace as well, because Lovelace recently left the banking industry. So with her experience there, she should also jump into this matter. You're shaking your head. You're going to come in though. So I will read the question again from Christian Mote. Christian, very good question. Thank you. She says, how do you handle culture disruptors in the banking environment? Your staff who may want to dress in tight-fitting clothes or with bushy hairstyles, which may not sit within the cultural scope of the bank. Okay, so Sami, while Sami is typing his answers, Sami, if you can still hear us, please type in your answer. I will read it. But while Sami is typing their answer, let me go to Lovelace. Lovelace.
Okay, so, even without new normal, or before, we still had those issues. The disruptors are always there. And like Ahmad rightly said, we have about 4 different generations now in the working environment. They are thinking of productivity and contributing, and not necessarily how they carry themselves. A lot of leadership have found themselves having a lot of banter with these young millennials. I had that opportunity as well. A few times we have said that this is the dress code, because in banking we believe that being conservative in your dressing, colors and all that, makes the customer feel safe to drop their money with you. But we've also come to find out that some of the customers now don't even look at that. They're asking themselves, if you sell jewelry, how come you are wearing what? Rags. So it's something that we need to discuss. And leadership will also have to orientate themselves. And some of these cultures or organizational values that we have shown and oriented people, or even they living by, would have to give way. And also know that now that they're doing their meetings online, like she rightly said, they are wearing boxes with a tie. So the person is feeling very free. So this time around, it is not even the tight clothes. It's nothing. But the numbers are coming in. Now these people, we are encouraging them to come back to the office. How are we going to accommodate them? Because they felt very free in this environment, and we are now bringing them in. Okay, I must say that the HR director would have to speak because the policies will have to change. At this juncture, I'm all for the tight clothes and just delivering the numbers.
So I worked in a bank for close to 10 years before I moved into insurance. Perhaps. But you know what? I think that in the financial institution, in the banks, they usually have their dress codes. And these dress codes have been there for ages. And one thing that COVID has taught us is that we need to look at our policies again. So currently, it's work that is being done a lot on our side in terms of looking at your policies again and looking at how well it fits into the current dispensation. I'm not saying wear anything that it's indecent, but you need to dress, you have to dress up decently to fit the job function you are in. But I think we need to actually look at things like colors and things like that. We need to actually dress appropriately. And I think the word is appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amma. Thank you as well, Lovelace, experienced bankers sharing. And I know that some bankers in the audience as well. Sam, we think the audio has been resolved, or we might have some progress there. Could you please help us by answering this question as well? Remember again, the question is the culture disruptors. The culture disruptors. So how do you deal with them? How do you handle them? Okay, I'm not sure Sam can hear us. Okay, so we will go to the next question, and I know that our time is almost up. We have one more question in the hall. So could you please help us with the mic for the? Oh, thank you. But I'm not sure the audience online will be able to hear you. So please.
Thank you. My name is Anna. I hope my question is within context. I want to know how we can handle supply chain issues in relation to language barrier across the globe. Because this era, there are challenges with just-in-time and global manufacturing. It is really suffering. You don't get material from the source you get it from. You try to check availability across the globe, and you are hit with language barrier. The new person that will be able to supply you, there is this culture of language barrier. How do we penetrate? How do we go about it? Thank you.
Egbert, I don't know if you heard the question. She wants to know how do we handle the issue of a language barrier when you are dealing with people from another cultural context. So it's not only the culture issue, but also the language as well. Egbert? One another. The key is proper initial onboarding, time invested upfront in understanding each other's ways. It is time saved in the long run. So essentially, before you get people to start dealing with people in other cultures, you need to onboard them properly. And indeed, in Hofstede Insights, we have trainings, which we call intercultural management, that would help you to understand the cultures of people on the other side. So even here, though Nigeria and Ghana were close to each other and we both speak English, it will amaze you that the same English word means different things in Nigeria that it does in Ghana and vice versa. Same thing with America and the UK. Same thing with Nigeria and the UK. I remember a long time ago, I got into a taxi and I asked the taxi to take me somewhere, and the taxi driver looked at me and told me it's going to take a very long time. And I said, "Are you serious?" Which is something we always say in Nigeria to mean, you don't mean it, as in, this is amazing to hear. And the taxi driver looked at me and said, "Oga, in my life, I've never lied though." So I was like, I'm not saying you're a liar, I'm just saying, are you serious? Because that's what we say in Nigeria. Are you serious is English, but it means something in Nigeria quite different from what it means in Ghana, even though we speak the same language. In culture, we talk about the levels of culture, and this issue you've just talked about, I believe, touches on this thing we call symbols. Symbols of culture. Language is one of the symbols of culture. And even though we speak English, we use it differently. I mean, we don't call restrooms washrooms in Nigeria, and they don't call them washrooms in the UK. It's a different name for the same thing in different places. So I hope that helps a bit. Okay, our time is indeed up. I have online comments. So I'm going to read the online comments very quickly to appreciate those of us who have joined in online. Our dear, the chairman of Hofstede Insights in Nigeria, not our global chairman, but the chairman of Hofstede Insights in Nigeria, Mr. Chukwuka Chukwuma, is logging in all the way from the US, and he made some very interesting comments which I would like to read, and I want to appreciate you so much, Chukwuka. He says, Africa's future is female. Just look at our excellent panelists. Remote and flexible work will increase the presence of women in the workforce. So COVID is a blessing to the female workforce who have been largely underutilized. Indeed, you have many women who are unable to come to the office on account of the fact that they are looking after their children. And COVID-19 has helped women to be able to balance work, life, and home as well. Another comment from Chukwuka as well says, my comment, fintech is eating the lunch of banking at an alarming rate because of the archaic rules like dress code and hairstyle. The Flutterwave CEOs will probably have never been staff on most of the banks today, but their business is now worth more than most of the banks today. So the fintechs are rising. So this is a lesson for those of us who are bankers, perhaps those people who like to wear the tight-fitting dresses or have their very nice hairstyle. You can let them get involved with payment systems and mobile banking and other fintech things. I have Abubakar Abdul Karim. He says, how can you handle an organizational culture in which the SMTs only listen to a few inner circle members because of personal relationship or favoritism, as the case may be? Wow. I think we will have to take that question offline, unfortunately, because of time. We would answer that question to you, Abubakar. I would like possibly if any of the panelists can type an answer to that question so that you would have that answer online. And please note that this session is being recorded. You can view it again and you can read all the questions and all the answers as well. I have a comment from a dear friend of mine, Yao Sompa. Yao, who's a friend of mine here in Ghana, he says, the conflict appears to be of autonomy and mastery. an idea that the organization has a notion of mastery it must conform employees to. Sorry, that an idea the organization has a notion of mastery must conform employees to. While there is a fundamental notion of action learning as a guide towards mastery. It says, how would you advise an organization struggling with granting autonomy while maintaining a standard of excellence? Again, panelists, please answer that question online. And then we have another question from Pakojo Ansa. Pakojo Ansa says, to what extent does microaggressors, to what extent are microaggressors a challenge to effective performance at the workplace? To what extent are microaggressors a challenge to effective performance at the workplace? Again, I would like our panelists to please answer that question. And we have one last comment, two more comments, sorry. One from Alet Vonk, our dear friend and partner, an associate partner of Hofstede Insights. She is based in the Netherlands, and she also is a Ghanaian at heart, having spent over 7 years living and working in Ghana. Alet Vonk sends a message. She says, I'm very happy to participate in this lovely event, sending my congratulations to the Ghana Growth Hub team. My question is, could we be able to elaborate a little bit more on the main cultural challenges for corporations in Ghana? Where do you think strategy and culture would need more alignment? And again, please, panelists, could you help to respond to that question? Thank you so much, Alet. And then the last comment here from Adjoa again. Adjoa JB says, shout out to the women, our future. Now the women are making the men jealous, but we will keep quiet. You know, there's always a ministry of women affairs. There's no ministry of men affairs. But the men were not. We have no right to complain, I believe. So this basically brings us to the end. But before we wrap up, just a last word from our online panelists. Please text it in so that we can read it out, and then we will start with our face-to-face panelists. Let me go to Amma, last word, and then Lovelace, last word before we go.
It's been an interesting session for us today, and I would say congratulations to the Growth Hub. This is a great start, and I think you help turn things around. Culture is very, very important, and I think all business leaders across the whole ladder, across the whole chain, need to take it very serious, do something about it, and make Ghana and corporates great places to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I go? Okay. Thank you very much. It's been a great privilege to spend all morning with a great team, both online and in person. It's been wonderful, and I think the discussion just started on culture. We'll direct a lot of discussion on our various platforms, social media platforms. A lot of questions, I believe, will be coming in, which we are ready to engage. Again, also, we would ask that you give us an opportunity to talk to decision makers in your various companies, just to enlighten ourselves and gain some insights on how culture needs to be brought to the table and the decision-making table. We hear that we are going on strategic meetings every year, beginning of the year, mid-year. Culture has never been part of the discussion. I think it's about time we have ambassadors who will champion and ask the questions. Where are we? And how is this strategy that we are bringing on board to achieve the results that we expect? All these investments that we put into the business, how are people taking it? And it should be part of our people's strategy. And we must put it on the board. We don't longer want values and mission statements just running by and not having measured the impact of how our people are behaving in the business. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to serve corporate Ghana in this regard. And we look forward to more discussions, and more business contact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Egbert and Sam, any comments before we wrap up? Please type it, as you know, because of the sound challenge. Okay. So, thank you so much. Oh, is the sound okay now? Can we try and hear them? Okay, I see Egbert has sent in. Very true pleasure to see such engaged audience and looking forward to helping visualize cultural opportunities. Egbert, I'm sure you will. I can make a promise on your behalf that sometime in 2022 we will see you in Ghana. Am I correct? I think he deserves a round of applause for that promise. So we'll see you in Ghana next year. And I want to say a big thank you as well to Sam, who has logged in as well, and to all the panelists. And there are other comments coming in. We want to appreciate everyone. We want to thank you for attending, for our face-to-face guests that have been here very patiently, enduring the sound and other challenges with us. We want to thank you very, very much today. And we look forward to meeting with you, talking with you, and eventually serving you. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day. Thank you.